What is up? We are live. Thank you so much for joining me here on my channel. My name's Sean, and welcome to episode number 2 of the Tarsis Tavern, your weekly Anthem community discussion talk show. So, there's a lot that has been going on in the world of Anthem this week. We just got finished with the not the VIP, the open demo. We had the VIP 2 weeks ago. We just finished up with the open demo, and we're going to discuss that today. Bunch of different topics to get to as well, including the Shaper Storm that happened at the end of the open demo as well too. What we know is coming to Anthem, microtransactions, endgame, and the big one today from the Savage Squad Discord actually, which was surprising. Big discussion topic was, does Anthem need PvP? So we're going to discuss all that in tonight's episode. First, let me hop into the Discord and say hello to my co-host this evening, Mr. Kieran. What is up, my man?
What's going on, my dude?
What's going on, my dude? Let me switch to this one right here. Excited to get into this tonight. Now, I know that you spent some time on the open demo. Not a lot,
Yeah.
but I mean, like, I think all the topics that we're going to touch here today, you'll be able at least to comment on with the amount of time that you put in to the demo. So let's just start it off here with our first topic of discussion, which is open versus VIP demo. What did we see that was different? What was better? What were your impressions of the open versus the VIP demo? For me, I think
what you see, and I'll tell you what I didn't see.
I think we saw a much more optimized version of the game. I think we saw far less connection issues. So, I mean, like the 2 weeks ago on my Friday stream, the joke was always, the first 2 hours was like a just chatting stream because we were literally trying to slam the enter button to get into the servers to actually play the game, right? So,
Of course.
I think they had that pretty much solved. I know there were some people that still had some issues with it.
See, and I feel that they solved that halfway through the VIP weekend, though, because I didn't get on Friday when you guys did, nor did I get on till like Saturday night.
Yeah.
And it seemed like by then I didn't have any of that issue. I mean, we had the crashes, but there was no login issues by Saturday night of VIP. So
yeah,
I don't know. I didn't really see a big improvement in that. I'm curious though about your optimization thing. What did you actually find that was different?
Optimization in terms of just how the game ran.
Like, did you find like FPS smoother, or did you find like
FPS was still down for me. When I was streaming, I was still between like 40 to 50 frames. But as I said during my streams, there were some big time streamers with, rigs that could put friggin' nuclear missiles into space. We're talking like the brand new Intel 9 series processors, double like 1080 Ti graphics cards, 32 gigs of RAM. That were complaining that they were seeing FPS drops, right? So I think FPS in terms of just the game was an issue, and that is something that they definitely need to optimize. I think it just felt better. It felt smoother. Maybe it was also too part of the fact that you could also play all 4 javelins too, which gave the demo, at least for the VIP users, I think a little bit more ability to dig deeper into the game. Plus, we also had a better game experience too because we understood better of what we were actually doing. Like when we did the Tyrant Mine,
that wasn't because of anything that they changed. That's just your own.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's
why I was saying like the things that didn't change, because I still had. Actually, we also still had multiple crashes doing the raid thing.
Yeah.
Right, trying to
Yeah, the Tyrant Mine. Yeah, it was definitely wasn't perfect. The audio drop was still there, which they've addressed, which we're gonna talk about here too, in terms of like what they're actually going to do to fix some of these things here. So I'm bringing up the Anthem open demo, kind of the huge mega thread on Reddit. So Ben Irving posted an update on February 1st concerning aiming and flight controls on PC. So we're going to see that. There's also another post here concerning PC UI updates for launch, alliance systems, and guilds.
Wait, does flight controls include water controls?
Well, let's open this up here and take a look, because this is some of the things that the community has been talking about that they want to see changed. So aiming, raw mouse input, found a bug and fixed that, caused the symptoms of negative acceleration. Right. Flight and swimming, increased available range for mouse sensitivity options. PC flight box is now a circle. Added auto centering for PC flight, resolved bug issue with sprint fly on the button press. Raw mouse input is now achievable in PC flight. Tuned flight flash swim response. So that was one thing too I found between the VIP and the open demo, was that the swimming was a lot better. Oh, it was infinitely better. It was infinitely better than.
See, and I didn't do any swimming in the VIP weekend, so I have nothing to compare it against. But it's still, I mean, I didn't tweak my settings, I don't think, on swimming where I did with the flight.
Yeah.
But it's definitely all over the place, eh?
Yeah, they said adjusted defaults for precision slash response, 25% for flight and swim precision down to 15%, 50% for flight and swim response down to 30%. So I think that was the main thing, was that when you jumped into the swimming in the VIP demo, it was just like, holy shit, I gotta take the sensitivity way down. And you even still had issues with the swimming too. So it's nice to see that they're doing all this. PC UI updates. Summary: we have made numerous updates to the menu and force navigation with the mouse and keyboard on PC. Since the demo build in early access, you will see improvements like Q and E to navigate tabs and being able to drill into the menus by clicking the visible options on the right hand side. In the Forge, you'll notice the rotating and zooming your character are more responsive. Again,
I'll tell you something about the UI. It definitely seems controller optimized.
Yes,
for sure. It's very, I don't know, just like the buttons that they've used to do things like U to go to the next screen. Yep. I don't know. It just seems very clunky and like an afterthought. So hopefully they do look into the UI a little bit more for the menus.
Yeah. And some of this stuff is going to come right at the early access launch here. So again, like some of these options here, like UI clicking, so it says 15th February, 15th February, 15th February, and then some of these like HDR toggle, camera shake slider added on February 22nd. So you're gonna see some of these things on the early access, and then on the full launch.
Right.
Yeah.
Going back to the graphics thing. Because you've got your new beastly machine, are you playing at high everything?
So in terms of like for streaming for FPS, I was playing at medium settings, and then sometimes I was playing at low. Like I was playing around with it, but again, I don't think we've really seen an optimized version of the game yet. So that's one thing that I'm hoping on early access that we'll see.
That this was an old build, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was a little miffed to find out that I had to put it on medium just to play it, because on high, which it did default to, it defaulted me to high.
Yeah.
But it had like a motion blur every time I moved around, and I've been hearing this from like a ton of other people saying, like, holy crap, like what am I gonna need to play this?
Yeah.
Because it's a genuine concern if people are having to play it on low with their machines that were built in the last 2 years. Like that's crazy.
Yeah. Just showed that in the chat that you can turn
I
motion blur off, and you can change certain things that'll help you. And even I did that too. Like I turned motion blur off. I turned off the anti-aliasing and that kind of stuff. So there are things that you can do to get better FPS. But yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that this game is visually it's a graphics hog. It's a CPU hog. Like it's a monster. It's a beast of a game.
This old build is so old that the new build is going to show some serious improvements.
And this is what we keep hearing in feedback, right? Is that these demos were old builds, that the full launch versions are going to be more optimized and better versions of the game. So I hope that even moving into full launch here, that is going to definitely be the case. So put it on medium as well and had no issues. Yeah. When I switched to medium, I was fine. Like when I wasn't streaming, I could play the game on high with my system. But then when I was streaming, obviously just being a single PC streamer, I had to tone it down a little bit, just to try and make sure I got decent frames when I was streaming.
Nice.
Yeah, but my machine is decent.
So I definitely want to see that the new build and just see like how old is the old build? They
said 6 weeks. They said 6 weeks. Like VIP demo was a 6-week-old build, and I think demo was about the same too. So we were talking about a month and a half old builds of the game.
So hopefully enough of this stuff gets ironed out, because I mean, it's coming up real quick. So it's not a lot of time to fix stuff that they find in VIP and open. Honestly, 2 weeks is not a lot of programming time. I think they were taking all the information though and applying it where they could. I mean, I think they took all the feedback. This is one thing too, is that's nice. And I'm not gonna touch. I was gonna touch on it, but I decided not to. Was, you know, like the EA discussion. I'm kind of past that. I'm kind of done with it, because BioWare is obviously sailing the ship with this game, I think, and EA, while they're a publisher of it, I don't think they have their hand in the pie all that much. So as we go on along with the show here too, we've talked about this previously too.
Yeah,
it's like, you know, again, EA is the publisher. They're the ones that sit there and say, BioWare, you need to push this out by this date. We want you to achieve these financial targets, sell these figures, blah blah blah. They're not saying, you know, change these things in the game or whatever anymore, because we mentioned a couple weeks ago, when Star Wars Battlefront bullshit hit the fan last year. Yeah, like they are going hands off on every publisher or every developer that they're working with, because they don't want they don't want to drag everybody down. Yeah.
I said in the first episode of the show here that if EA even looks at this game the wrong way. Yeah, Joe's right. EA doesn't make dev decisions. Yeah. No. And if you're still crying,
everybody gets so pissed off about EA. And it's like, man, it has nothing to do with it at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I don't want on the game.
Yeah, I don't want to get into a big EA discussion here, but they make decisions on how much skins cost. That's true, and I don't think we're gonna touch on microtransactions.
That's not gameplay. That's not gameplay. So I don't care. That's fluff, and the people with money, sure, I'll make some extra money. I might buy some skins. That's cool. That doesn't affect the gameplay.
Yeah.
So you can't hold that as a don't play this game cause boxes. Like, honestly, it's like, just grow up.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah. No. We're going to touch on microtransactions here a little bit later in another topic of the show, but let's move on here to what we saw at the end of the demo, which was this right here. We'll open this up. So we saw something in the sky at the end of the demo, and that is what is called a Shaper Storm. So these are world events that are going to happen, and from what the devs and BioWare said, this was a mini Shaper Storm event. So let me play some of this video here. This is a Colossus on solo. He's soloing on hard and fighting the ancient Ash Titan. This thing is cool. It's big. It's huge.
Yeah, I really wish I could see this.
I wish we could have done this on Sunday.
Like, I played a bit on Sunday, but I don't know. Did this happen at a certain time?
I don't think it happened at a certain time. That the Rift opened midday, and then if you were in game and free play, and then it dropped ads on the ground here too as well. That you had to
basically just like a straight up like world.
This was a world event. Yes. The sky opened like red, in like a huge like tornado shaper storm, and then
I love this guy just doesn't even use his shield.
and yeah, and then he drops in. Yeah, yeah.
He like just eats fireballs.
Yeah.
So this is pretty cool.
Yeah, and this was said to be a mini event, so this is not even the full effect of what we're going to see with these shaper storms. Yeah, he's just grenade launching, and it looks like this thing's pretty badass in terms of like health, because well, then he's doing this solo as well too, right? So
yeah, it doesn't look to be like Spider Queen HP, but oh man, he's hitting for like 5,000. What's this guy got? Do you hit for 5,000 when you were playing this, the Colossus?
You know what? I did not play much Colossus during open. I was all Ranger. On that? I was all Ranger. All Ranger.
Yeah, weekend though, you were all Colossus. Did you?
I was, yeah, but then I realized Colossus is not fantastic, and actually, they're talking about maybe buffing the Colossus.
That would be a good idea, because it seems like nobody's gravitating towards it. And you're gonna need a tank in actual raiding and stuff.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So this was cool. Yeah. So this was really awesome. This was really cool. I'll stop this video. The Shaper Storm and the Ash Titan that came with it. I really think that this is some fantastic content that they can work with, because this game, as we've all heard, is a live. It's like a live entity, right? It's always going to be changing. It's always going to be evolving. So these types of events and stuff are always going to happen, and you know, there'll be different things happening within them, which I think is actually one of the things we'll talk about when we get down to the PvP discussion. Is these events are going to keep people on their toes, right? And they're going to get bigger and they're going to get better. And so just a taste of what I think is definitely to come. All right, so let's move on to...
Excuse me while I pour my third rum.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, third rum. So we got that one done. We got Shipper Storm done. Microtransactions.
Yeah, so I apologize if I get a little too entertaining soon.
Microtransactions. So this has been another big discussion topic here, and Kieran kind of went off on his soapbox a little bit before I had to reel him back in, because I knew we were going to talk about this. How Anthem's microtransactions work. For those of you that don't know how Anthem's microtransactions are going to work, there's going to be two ways that you can buy skins, which are, by the way, the only microtransaction in the game. Anthem will not have loot boxes. Anthem will not have pay-to-win loot or anything like that. You will not be able to financially boost yourself up in this game. So,
but also in that they're not having loot boxes, that also means you will be buying the skin you want to buy. You're not buying a box that gives you a chance at, so you're not
exactly
gambling.
Yes, you're not gambling like Overwatch loot boxes, right?
Yeah, so it's straight up like what I guess Fortnite.
Yes. Yeah. So it says here, while many gamers consider microtransactions to be a dirty word, the reality of the situation is that microtransactions are here to stay, as they are useful in funding new developments and post-launch content, which is true. So again, if we have a live, living kind of entity of a game, we need to, you know,
have a way of funding it.
Have a way of funding it, right? Right.
Yep.
Right. Big details reveal that the online action role-playing game will not feature loot boxes. We know this, and will have no ability to pay for power, commonly referred to as pay-to-win. It's even worth mentioning that some countries have declared loot boxes as unlawful gambling. Right. So, I think EA really learned their lesson with Battlefront 2, and that you're not going to see that. Cosmetic and vanity items will have no actual impact on gameplay. Of course, it's entirely possible that this non-aggressive approach to microtransactions could change in the coming months, but that doesn't seem likely. So this is the big point as well too, that people think, well, they're just going to start off, you know, and they're not going to do
one thing and then
exactly, and then they're going to change it. That would kill Anthem. I think that's a really
again with EA being on the slippery slope.
Exactly.
They're not going to take that chance. That's just, why would you throw yourself into the fire?
Exactly. So
This is their first major launch, major release since the fiasco.
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is the last thing that they're going to want to do, and I can't see EA getting involved in this at all. I think at this point they're just going to be like, you know what, you devs just do whatever the hell you want to do, and it's all your baby.
Yeah, and that's what we've seen so far in terms of everything that happened with the VIP demo, with the open demos, any of the problems. It's all coming from BioWare. Nothing's coming from EA. So, two ways that the microtransactions work. You purchase them using coins, which you earn from doing everything in game. So we're talking missions, we're talking events, that kind of thing. You will earn coins for everything that you do within game. The second one is shards. Now this article here explains a little bit more about shards. So based on the screenshot, users have estimated that $1 will net you roughly 100 shards. Players have the option of purchasing items with shards that are bought with real money or coin earned by playing the game. One thing to keep in mind is that these don't represent final stamp for all of eternity pricing. So there was a EA event where people took pictures, which they were not supposed to do, in microtransactions of items in game that had placeholder pricing. Well, this got leaked out and everybody on the internet exploded because they saw armor stuff that was like $20 or like $10 or whatever it was, and they were freaking out. Well, this is too much, and da 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 da. The other thing to keep in mind too is if a microtransaction costs $10 or $15, you're not just getting getting one thing, right? That 10, 15
a little box of several things. Is that what you're saying?
Or it might be an entire armor set,
right?
Like an entire
head plate. Mail,
exactly.
Boots,
Yeah. Or the popular one in Anthem is called the vinyls, right? So we're getting 2 vinyls at launch as kind of like an I am sorry for how the demo went, and a VIP one. So there's a blue one and a green one. So you could drop another $10 and say get like a red vinyl set. So it's not going to be like one thing. You're not going to spend $10 and your helmet changes or like your arms change on your javelin. It's going to likely be an entire set. And this is what Christmas.
Again, keep in mind, everybody just loves Fortnite, thinks Fortnite's amazing. And they're charging like $15, $20, $25 for a skin on a freaking cartoon game. Are you kidding me? So yeah, we're not doing too bad.
Yep. Yeah. So Chris Schmidt, senior assistant designer, says, one thing to keep in mind, the prices don't represent final stamp for all eternity pricing. We are iterating on our economic design and balance almost daily, so you're seeing a snapshot of one iteration. This is why we tend to not discuss things like pricing, because it's one of those things that's sure to change frequently right up until the day you play the game, which is why the uproar that happened after this event was crazy. While prices aren't final, Reset Era users have noticed that they seem to fall in line with Fortnite's pricing. At present, Anthem's armor pack roughly comes up to $20. Emotes cost around $12, and rare textures cost roughly $8. So we are going kind of the Fortnite.
A little high,
right? But like they say, that's what Fortnite. That's what Fortnite is.
Me or you, probably neither of us would really have much qualms about shelling out, I don't know, $15-$20 even every couple months to just, if anything, just to support the game, because I want to support a game I'm going to continue playing, and if I know I'm getting all this content, I have absolutely no problem throwing them a few bucks every once in a while.
Yeah, and then here's the kicker at the end of this article: there are no items, including cosmetic and emotes, that are only available for purchase with shards.
Right, so you can earn everything.
Everything is either available for coin only or has a dual price, giving players the option of saving up their coin or dropping real money on shards for an emote or a skin. Yeah. So all this talk about microtransactions and it's going to ruin the game and blah 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 blah, it's
Just shut your mouth.
It's hyperbole. It's not even a thing. It ain't even no thing.
Hyperbole is a game, by the
And
way.
I am
You mean hyperbole.
whatever. You know what I'm trying to say here. I'm super excited to see all the skins because even with the editor in game, I don't know if you were on Twitter or anything like that, but some people were taking screenshots of some insane different paint jobs and stuff that they were putting on these javelins. So even in the paint editor in the game, you can make yourself look dope. Like you don't have to buy.
I was surprised by that. Honestly, I was blown away because you know me, I love my outfits.
You love your outfits. You love looking dope.
Making my dude look dope. All right, I'm all about that lifestyle.
Yep.
And the paint options were crazy good, and like the cool different textures and the metals and the it's crazy the amount of options that you have to begin with just out the gate that you don't have to pay for. Like that's cool. That's really cool.
Yep.
Like so much so that like you almost don't even need the vinyls because the amount of options are so cool. I love the customization.
I think the vinyls are cool, and I think too when the game launches and they start showing some of the stuff that you can get, it might, like you said, it might be tempting to drop $10 on a really, really super rare armor set. Now,
oh bro, you know what'd be dope? Oh my god, you know what'd be dope? Is if they let you, as like a stream supporter thing, make a Savage Sean vinyl. Oh my god.
That would be dope. That would be so dope. Yeah, I mean everybody was like you should make like the red and the black armor look for your channel, right? So, and that's all things that you can do just again in the paint editor. But it's going to be interesting to see the different types of emotes that you can do, and I hope the emotes stay classy. Like I hope they don't go the way of Fortnite where like we have like javelins like doing like flossing. You know what I mean? Like
kind of funny. I don't
you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Have you gone and looked in the rare ones? Because
no.
I actually went in there and saw some of them, and they were kind of funny. They were a little goofy. Like
were they silly?
Yeah. There's a few that were pretty silly. I can't even remember. I unlocked one yesterday, and I don't remember what it was, but I was like, "Oh my god, this is hilarious!" So yeah, they're gonna be funny. But Destiny did the same thing. Destiny
that's
did
true.
the exact same thing where they made really funny emotes and things with like petting your chicken.
Petting your chicken? What?
Yeah, you would just
like, I played like no Destiny, so I have no clue.
Okay, so you would spawn this like virtual chicken in your arms, and you would start petting it. Like just this ridiculous stuff.
That's funny. That's funny.
It was really funny because you're in this serious game with a space suit. You're, super cool guy, and you're petting your chicken.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm cool with the modes being funny. I have no problems with that.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah, you're right. And if you love the game, I mean, you're gonna drop a couple bucks here and there. And again, I hope maybe they'll go the way of Overwatch, right? Is maybe. In the winter, they'll have certain ones. In the summer, they'll have certain ones. That kind of thing, too. So, and again, we really don't know what's coming with this system. But I'm excited for it. And I'm okay dropping a few more bucks on a game that I really enjoy. So
I have no problem, too. Because, again, you're supporting the devs to continue rolling out content.
Yeah.
And that is the main thing, right? Like, if people stop doing that and make such a big stink that they're not going to want to sell things, like then your game goes away.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Support your game.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. So let's talk about one of two discussion points because the Savage Squad Discord blew up today in some discussions at around 10 o'clock that went until about shortly after 12:30 or 1 o'clock. And one of the things that blew up was endgame for Anthem. So that's kind of what I want to get into here next is discussing the endgame of Anthem, what needs to happen for Anthem endgame to be successful. And I also have an article here too, I'll bring it up, about Masterworks and Legendaries. And I'm only going to read a portion of this one when we get there, because this article from Polygon has hella spoilers in it. They have a list of every single...
Can you link that in chat, if you don't mind?
Well, I can, but again, just a warning. This has every single class, components, weapons, support gear, and everything. So I will put this in the chat, but just be aware that this is hella spoilers.
The open beta or the VIP, like, you'll have seen most of this stuff, right?
Yeah. Actually, you know what I'll do? I'll put it... I don't know if I can.
I was gonna say, I have just a link in the chat just so I can look at it too, because I haven't seen this at all.
Okay, here. You know what I'll do? I'll do it over Discord.
Okay.
Let me just grab you here.
Yeah, sorry to...
It's okay.
You know, sidetrack you here, but
it's okay. No, it's good. You know, you should have it up. Because we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about Masterworks and Legendaries as part of this discussion as well. All right, so let's talk about this article here from Eurogamer. So I agree with this guy here. What convinced me most, Anthem convinced me most, I think, is how much BioWare is tackling the in-game challenge. Is bold play for both BioWare's story-loving franchise fan base and people who love these types of games, Destiny, Division, even Fortnite, which demanded to keep coming back months down the line. There's a core narrative path to Anthem, of course, but the success of its world, and I think the entire project hinges on how this later part pans out. So, what we know that the end game will be at launch is the strongholds, legendary contracts, and then free play. Let me see.
There will also be your dailies, weeklies, and monthlies.
Yes, that too. Yes. And Ben Irving says, just on the word raid, he says the problem with raid is it has a connotation that it requires more people or has 5 bosses in a circle. That's why I'm using the word aspiration content. In other games, a raid is that, and while I think it is important to a game like ours, we have an idea which is different, but ticks the needs of why a raid is important. It's a similar thing. It's the thing you'll schedule with your buddies, will be hard, requires tons of coordination, and then there will always be ways to show off if you are good at that or not. So there's also unnamed activities as well too, but again, the main ones are going to be your strongholds, which is going to be 3 at launch, with more coming. Contracts, which are your legendary, called legendary contracts, which are bounty type missions featuring encounters in Anthem's open world, and free play, which lets you roam and see what's going on in Anthem that particular week or day. And this also rolls over into our PvP discussion, but we'll talk about that later. You're not always going to be saying the exact same stuff. So again, we talk about a persistent world, a living game that is always going to be changing. Things can change. You don't always understand why, but things happen in the world. We have plans and ideas to discuss to pay off on that. Events will point you to weekly or daily challenges of varying difficulties tied in the ongoing story of how the mysterious Anthem of creation is affecting the world that day. That, to me, seems pretty dope. And then he says, meanwhile, back in Fort Tarsis, the game's cast of NPCs will be refreshed with new things to talk about. So this is how they're going to keep endgame fresh.
And you know, there's actually quite a bit of lore too.
Absolutely. We know nothing of the story.
I was gonna say, I don't know if you did this, but I spent a little bit yesterday. I spent some time roaming around and going down hallways and stuff that you typically aren't going down, and finding scrolls and books and things that add to your, it's called your vortex, or like basically your journal system.
Yeah.
And I went and I read all the stuff, and there's actually going to be quite a bit. And there was a bunch that I couldn't pick up yet,
Oh, it's
and
gonna be huge.
places that we couldn't go in yet. So I mean, like, I think the lore and the story in this is actually gonna be a lot better than people think.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
People are thinking, oh, Diablo, looter shooter type,
Yep.
you know,
Yep.
gear
Bad.
grind.
Yep.
But I
Bad.
think there's actually gonna be a story.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's definitely not just, bad guys, aliens land on planet and we have to kill them. There's definitely gonna be something more to it. But in terms of like what we're talking about in terms of end game content, and people are like, well, in a month, are we gonna have enough to do? I think again it comes back to this idea of a constantly changing world, or what they describe as a living world that changes, and every time you come back into it, there's something new and different happening. And it's not like they're not going to add different strongholds. The Shaper Storm was a very, very good example of what they can kind of do just off the hop. So
Yeah, just throw random
exactly,
mob in the middle of the world. Like,
exactly, yeah. Have a storm in the sky. Boom. Here's 3 friggin' ancient ash titans that also spawn mobs, or maybe one week it'll be, I don't know, like the huge mechanical guys that we saw in the demo.
Yeah, honestly, they're gonna have to do that pretty quickly, because I think within a span of like 2-3 weeks, with only 3 raids, I think you're gonna get to a point where you're gonna find the hardcores are gonna be like, done within 3 weeks. The content. Right?
Yes, I think so. Yes. Your content creators, your streamers, with only 3 strongholds, that is going to be tough, I think. Because you're gonna have people screaming for content, because the thing that's gonna happen
they tweak the loot, because as it stands now, like when we finish a run of something, you end up with like a full friggin' like blue like rare loot thing, right? And you get like 30 pieces of loot from a half-hour free play. So I don't know, maybe they either tweak that so it doesn't drop as much, so that it does take you a little longer to experience everything, or again, we never saw any purples, right? So
no.
maybe that's just super rare, and it takes like so many runs to get into the purples or the orange legendaries or something like that. Like, who knows? So I don't know. Maybe it does take longer than a couple weeks to get fully outfitted, but I don't know. I'm just worried about, because even with the spider thing that we did it like 3-4 times.
Yeah.
I was already getting a little tired of it by the last time.
I was just gonna say, it kind of wore me out too, and I was just wishing, like, oh man, I wish they would have given us just like one more stronghold, but with only 3 at launch, I mean, I think you were only gonna get 1 in the demo, anyways. The other thing too that I wanted to add to this was, about the loot, right? We don't know if that was an excessive amount of loot, because that's how they had it in the demo, just so that you could kind of see all of it. I don't know if that's something that's going to be right. I mean, I salvaged a ton of it.
Yeah, maybe blue is your standard, and green and white just get insta salvaged. I mean, they were already getting insta salvaged for me.
Right.
So maybe blue is your standard, and it just takes like, I don't know, 5 runs of something to find a purple.
Well, in terms of maximizing for endgame too, one thing you're gonna have to do is you might have to use a green item to level it up for the challenges, to make a better version of it, right?
Exactly.
So that's another thing too that I don't think a lot of people are thinking about in terms of endgame, is that, or just like the overall content of how much you're going to be doing in the game, is if I want to be a ranger and I see that there's this amazing, masterwork shotgun that I want, or like a legendary shotgun that I can make with a with a recipe, but I have to.
Oh, don't call it a recipe. This isn't cooking, Sean.
Well, you know what I mean, crafting or blueprint. You know what I mean, and then you're using a green weapon for 3
to work your way up to it.
3 or 4 runs to work your way up to it, right? So
make your blue one, then use that for 3 to 4 runs. Then exactly.
Absolutely, yeah. And speaking of kind of end game loot here, this one here, the Anthem Guide, complete list of masterworks and legendaries. This article was dropped on Friday. So the higher the rarity, the more inscriptions show up on a piece of gear. So this is inscriptions on gear too. So from common to legendary, you get different inscriptions. So we start to see 4 inscriptions on gear at the masterwork and the legendary.
Now, weird little thing about this is that stuff I was getting inscriptions on would say like 0% to melee damage, 0%. Like, why would they have it even in there?
I think that's I think that was just a demo thing. I think that was just a demo thing, to be honest with you.
I hope so, because it's really weird to have a buff on it but be for 0.
Yeah.
Like, why are you even here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it says here, Master and Legendary gear pieces are the most interesting Anthem has to offer, with unique perks and abilities built into them. However, the difference between them is subtle. Masterwork and Legendaries come with the same perks, but Legendaries are far more rare and have better stats and inscriptions. If you play Diablo 3, the Ancient Items system is similar. Now, this is where it gets interesting with these higher end pieces of gear. Players can combine these gear pieces to create varied builds, where gear pieces work together to complete specific tasks. For example, focusing on a big single target damage or clearing large groups of low-level enemies. Ben Irving last month said that there will be only 1 masterwork per gear type at launch. However, more will be added post-launch. So, in terms of endgame content from both a straight-up content and from a straight-up gear perspective, I think they're going to start slow, and then they're gonna build their way up. They're gonna move their way up in this. I think, like Rick Jackson said in the Savage Squad Discord today, these developers aren't stupid. BioWare understands that there's going to be Maximus players that are going to want, more content and more gear. I think there's lots in the happening behind the scenes when it comes to this, and I wouldn't honestly be all that worried. How many more strongholds would you like to see after launch if there's only 3?
Well, I mean, 3 is a good start, but I mean, I think you'd want to have one in the next like 2 or 3 months, right?
More than that. Oh Jesus! If we're talking 2 or 3 months,
think about it in terms of like other MMOs, like Warcraft, say, or other things. Generally, they'll only release like 2 or 3 raids like a year, right?
Yeah.
So something like this, like sure, you're starting off slow with 3, but I would definitely want to see one in the next month, and then maybe another one in the next 2 months. But you don't want to like just crazy overdo it with that. You want to add other things for them to.
Yeah.
Since not all just raiding. That's how I feel anyway.
Yeah. I definitely think they would have to release at least 1 stronghold within the first month. I want to
have some things that I can do at top level that are quick hits, because when you think of a raid or whatever they're deciding to call their raids, you're thinking of like a half hour, 45 minutes, maybe an hour content.
Yeah.
And I want to see stuff that you can do at max level that's useful, that's like a 15-minute thing or a 10-minute thing, right?
Yeah.
So I think spending more time on the more interesting dailies or weeklies or whatever other challenges they come up with, the Shaper Storms, whatever else they think is going to be more effective use of their time off the hop.
I love the world events. I think the world events are super cool. I think that Shaper Storm thing, and like I said, I am super bummed that I had to miss on Sunday. Shai in the chat says, even by Destiny terms, if we get 1 every 3 to 5 months, we will be good.
Yeah. And that's
I agree with that.
True. And like I said, that's most MMOs.
Yeah.
Or that's kind of the standard. I mean, it'd be great to have a whole slew of them, but as they come out, they'll be difficult to beat and take a while. Like, they'll take a few weeks to get the hang of and get down and farmable.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't think it's a big push to get it too crazy.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be that player base though that's just like hyper crazy elite guys that are spending 18, 19 hours of their day playing the game.
Yeah.
That are going to exhaust the content. But those guys aside, like, that's not us, obviously.
Well, yeah, and I think an established and very veteran developer like BioWare understands that group is there, but that group also represents it's an extremely small aspect of your player base. Yeah,
It's like 1%. It
absolutely.
literally is the 1%. And I mean, sure, there's gonna be a lot of them, but it's still it's dwarfed by the people like us that have jobs
Yes. Yes, yes, yes,
and
yes, yes.
lives and
Yeah,
kids.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah. And in terms of endgame too, I think the endgame of Anthem is going to be extremely, extremely um, team based. It's going to be synergy based to complete these strongholds and this high level content. You're going to have to work together. You're going to have almost like pre-raid powwows about like who's going to be your primer, who's going to be your detonator character, um, how you're going to work together with that. I think endgame in Anthem is going to be a little bit more difficult than people think in terms of just like it's not just going to be like, okay, get max level, get best gear, and that's it. Just with the way the game works and the combo system and how you maximize damage, you have to work together, right? So it's not like Destiny where you can just solo grind your way up, get the best stuff, and then you're done. Would you agree with that? Just from what you've seen with the console system and the synergies and stuff, that end game is going to be
yeah,
very
you
very
can't just
synergistic.
yeah, you can't just roll out there solo play and go and start comboing things.
Yeah,
And yeah, you're gonna need to be playing it as a group,
yeah,
which I mean seems to be the standard that they have. However, I'd like them to supplement their crappy voice comms with maybe a chat box somewhere.
it needs a
But
chat box. Yes.
once they get that in, then it won't be an issue. But like even jumping into free play, I find that I'll jump into free play. Maybe one other guy will be in my free play for the first like 10 minutes, and then maybe a third or fourth guy comes in. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
don't know. It's
yeah.
definitely
Just
something that you're gonna want to play with friends more.
yeah. Pulling from the chat, Just Joe that says for those guys who go ham on a game, if their content creators can influence the casuals into wanting more before they even need it, and puts pressure on devs. Secure says Just Joe that is right. There are already vids complaining about the demo and claiming lack of content. Well, that's because it was a demo. It was a demo, right? And in terms of end game content, what we're discussing here is
And
what
we know the content's there because everything that
right
you would like interact with, it's like this is not in the open beta. So
exactly
you know
exactly.
it's there.
We
They're
know
just like
right.
locking down 90% of the stuff.
We know the content's coming, and I think the Shaper Storm was actually a very very good sign that this living world that they're discussing that this game's going to be, they can essentially do anything. So if they have a week where they're getting more lack of comments or lack of content comments than usual with the living world.
Yeah, they'll just hey,
exactly.
Guys,
Hey, yeah,
stuff.
let's do an event this week. Let's drop an event this week. Let's do a Shaper. Yeah,
Frank, go and push that content button.
And why couldn't they do that? Shaper Storm, and let's fucking drop 6 Titans on their asses this week.
Yeah.
Yes, but you know what though? Influencers were also shitting on microtransactions, and influencers are looking for clicks on their own videos to help themselves. A lot of influencers use their clout to not assist companies, I find nowadays, and like there's been a couple out there that are just really really bad. Jodat says after a month of releasing COD, I had the camo grind done. Then after a month, I had the Master Prestige done. I'll play because I like to play, but content creators want things to grind to keep playing. Right, that's because you're a Maximus gamer, Jodat. You are a Maximist. That's the difference, right? Is you have to appease everybody. You have to appease the Maximist. You have to appease the casual, and then I believe that there's a group in between those two, which I think I would actually fall under, and I think Kieran might agree that he falls under too, right? Is that we're not exactly casual because
not all the way min max, but yeah,
right. Yeah, we're between casual and the super hardcore Maximus. I think.
Yeah, I don't have the time to be min max. but I'd like to be. So
Mhm.
yeah, you're in that lovely little middle zone. You know what? I think most guys probably our age are in that zone.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. So let's move on to the second discussion topic that absolutely blew up in the Seven Squad Discord today, and that is, does Anthem need PvP?
Short answer, yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I think
Kieran,
so.
explain.
Why not? Why not? I mean,
Well,
every other
no,
game
no.
has it.
Listen.
Every other
You
game
came
has
you
it.
came in hot with the yes, and I want an explanation.
Okay, the
You
game
take this.
doesn't.
You take this one first.
Okay, sounds good. So the game doesn't need it. The game is good on its own.
Mhm.
However, every game has it. There's a huge player base that thrives on that type of atmosphere, that type
Yes.
of thing.
Mhm.
And I think it's silly to not think about it and implement some form of it, because you're losing that player base just for no reason, because it's
Yeah.
not difficult to do.
Mhm.
Like, why not have a 4v4 melee thing in some kind of weird ass arena? Who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe it's well, Christ, look at the Destiny ones. So
Yeah.
I know you haven't played Destiny, but there was this thing called Gambit in Destiny, which you're killing all kinds of mobs. You are kind of it's hard to explain, but you're killing all these mobs to collect these items to level up your group to be able to drop the boss, to kill the boss, while the other team is doing the same thing.
Right.
And then at the same time, you could send like an assassin into the other team to take some of those guys out to set them back.
Yes.
Anyway, there's a lot of cool ways to do this. So it doesn't have to be straight up a 4v4 like, you know, World of Warcraft PvP style. There's a lot of different ways that you could figure this out. And I mean, the world is there, the people are there.
But that's
4v4 thing is fantastic.
But that's it. But that's the only way you could do it, right? It would have to be a 4v4 team in the big open world. How else would you do it? That's the only way I think. Even
like
with
I said,
somebody,
there's different ways of doing it. You can just do 4v4 straight up, or like I said, with this Gambit thing, you don't really see the other team unless you're the person that's teleported over to their side. Think of it more like individual PvE content that you send a bad guy over there to their team to take out them, to set them back. I mean, like I said, without you experiencing it, I know it's hard for you to understand, but it was a really cool new take on PvE or PvP that they could do.
Yeah.
That would make it interesting and not, not super. Again, it's not super hard.
Yeah.
But it was really fun, and it was interesting. It was different. It was new.
Yeah.
That wasn't just your typical 3v3, 4v4, 5v5.
Yeah.
Battle
so I mean, obviously I'm on the opposite end of the fence here. I think there's some other people here in chat too that are for it and against it. But actually this article that I brought up here on Reddit was really, really interesting. This was posted 5 days ago, and the title is "The fact that Anthem has no PvP is a big plus for me, not a minus." So the writer of this post that goes into I just want to say that I really think that the PvE focus of Anthem is a huge plus for the game, not only because I am not a big fan of PvP, but also out of a lot of other reasons. So there's 3 main areas here that he details, which I completely agree with. So number 1, balancing. It is much easier to balance skills and weapons only for PvE. You will never get a situation where you have to nerf a javelin ability or weapon for PvP, while it was perfectly fine in PvE or the other way around. Second point here is you actually do not need to nerf anything. You can just buff other weaker weapons and abilities to bring them on par, and you can always add another difficulty level on top. Great that Anthem already has the expandable difficulty levels implemented. The second point here is community fragmentation, which we are seeing in this chat right now, which is what happened today in the Discord. So PvP is something you choose to play within a game. If you don't want to, then don't. Okay, I agree with that.
Listen, if this is a PvE first game, which it is, then you balance for that. And PvP is your secondary thing, or even, well, in this case, it's basically tertiary. Then don't worry about balancing for it. whatever, or do small balances, or do a power level kind of evening out, which they do now in a lot of PvPs, right?
Yeah.
Where, like, let's say Star Wars Galaxy, I think was the one that started it first, if I recall.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
you log in, and let's say I'm like level 15, instantly I'm level whatever the max level was, and everybody's brought up to that to be equal playing field.
Yeah.
That way you're balanced. There's ways of doing it so that you don't have to worry about the balancing. If it's PvE first, which it is,
Yep.
then don't worry about the balancing of it. PvP is secondary, and can just be what it is. And it's something that a small portion of the player base wants to take part of, or large. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because that's not the focus of the game. So if you put it in there and people can play with it, that's fine. That's great. That's just a bonus. It's not a negative.
Yeah.
It's just an extra.
Yeah. So actually, some of your points there on this author's post here actually touched. So he goes into community fragmentation. Looking at big theme park MMOs or Destiny, you have players who only play PvP and others who only want to play PvE. First.
Okay, so let me stop there.
Okay.
If you don't put PvP in, you lose the players that want to play PvP on.
Okay.
So therefore, you have just shrunk your entire player base.
Okay.
Therefore, shrunk your financials by a huge margin.
Yep.
Overall, so why not have that, right?
So, devil's advocate.
Yeah.
If this is a PvE first game, anyways,
Which
how many actual PvP players are you going to have in the first place?
You are going to have a bunch.
I highly disagree.
I think you'd be extremely
highly
surprised.
disagree.
I think you'd be extremely surprised, because I think a lot of players will play the PvP or PvE game, and if PvP is the option, they get even more excited and stay in it longer. I think you lose guys on a PvE game that like the competition.
I do know the community. I'm a part of this community. I've been a part of this community for almost 2 weeks, and I've been reading a lot and going very, very deep into this game. And there's a lot of people who openly say, like this post here, who don't want PvP. Who don't want PvP. And again, if we're talking about
it, they don't have to play it.
Right. Okay. Right? But my point is that if we're playing a PvE first game,
and they can acquire all of the gear that they want to through PvE.
Right. PvP players are not going to be attracted to this game in the first place, because they're going to read there's no PvP at launch, and it might be coming later. So how are you attracting and keeping a PvP player base that's going to stick with this game for 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, whatever the timeline is for PvP to come, if they're not there in the first place?
Man, like for the first, I don't remember how long it was, but like 6-7 months, right? Like they didn't have a good game off the launch.
Yeah.
They relaunched the game. All of a sudden, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
I think you could do the same thing. All of a sudden, let's say 4 months later, they release PvP content, and they say, this is what the PvP is going to be like. It's going to be dope. These are going to be the things you're going to be able to... Oh, hey, I'm a PvP player. I'm going to come and join. Done. You instantly are just casting a wider net. And why wouldn't you want a wider net for your game? Because again, the wider net means that you are going to be bringing in more guys, spending more money on the stupid emotes and skins and all the crap that comes with it. You're going to be giving the devs money that are going to make the devs make more content for you. You want to cast the wider net. 100%.
Yeah. Joda says, if you got Destiny when it's free on PC, you should play it and see how a game like Anthem can have PvP. Well, the problem is that Destiny and Anthem are completely different games. And I've said this before, and in the first episode of the Tarsis Tavern, is I think Destiny is actually the least comparable game to Anthem. I think this game fits in.
Fighting, son.
I think this game fits more into the Division, Diablo category than it does Destiny. First of all, because it's first person versus third person. Let's start there. First person versus third person.
That's so minor of an issue, I think, to me. I don't care about the visual, whether it's first or third. The
Yeah.
main thing is it's a space themed looter shooter, evolving world, cool
Yeah.
shit, everything game, and that's what Destiny is.
Yeah.
This looks better.
Yeah.
But I think it's very similar to Destiny. I really do. I think it's very, very similar to Destiny and can accomplish the same things that they did since they relaunched it.
Yeah.
And have the PvP in it in such a way that, like, again, when I was playing Destiny, I played the hell out of the PvP stuff. But I didn't have to. I had some people that I was playing with in a guild I was in that were only playing the PvE stuff.
Yeah.
And that's
yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
You could do both, and like that's what I mean. Like, why can't we just all live in harmony, brother?
Well, and the author of this post here too has some good points too that kind of touch on that, and I just want to finish this up. He says if there's a new content update that requires you to play PvP, or is purely focused on PvP, PvE players will complain that they are forced to play PvP if they want to take part in the new content. You always have to deliver content for PvE and PvP, or one part of the community will start complaining. Then the last point is you do not have to implement quests that require players to play the PvP modes to keep these modes alive. That's actually a really good point too, in terms of content and fragmenting your community. I think this is a little bit of what I'm concerned about, is that if you put PvP into this game, you're going to fragment the community as well too.
And it depends on the rewards. Are the rewards for PvP going to be okay? Let's say
great point. How do you balance that?
Well, you have things that are PvP specific, right? Or whatnot. So that, listen, this new gear that comes out that is that I'm earning through PvP is a whatever the stats are. Makes it make more sense to use in only a PvP environment.
Right. So hold on. One second. Jodat, I'm on the official Anthem Reddit. So he said the bright. I don't even know what Breitbart is of Anthem News right now. And we're on the actual stuff. No, I'm on the official Anthem Reddit. Everything has come from the official Anthem Reddit or very, very valid articles. That is an assumption saying that everybody has to do everything, i.e. people who can't do Grandmaster will complain about loot. Right, but you have the ability to do that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. And again,
this is the thing, Sean. There's so many ways of doing it so that it doesn't affect.
I just think again we're dealing with a game that we know.
Play PvP on anything ever?
Not really. No, I'm not a PvP guy, and maybe that's just part of my problem too. But because the reason that this game has kind of drawn me in again, and we've talked about it a few times today, in terms of the end game, is the living world aspect of it, right? And I think there is going to be enough content.
Yep.
For this game specifically, that I think the Anthem needs PvP in X amount of months to survive statement is ridiculous. But that's what we're getting, right?
I'm with you on that. I don't think it needs it to survive.
Right.
I don't think it needs to survive at all.
But that's the narrative that's coming.
A difference between survive and thrive.
Okay, now hold on. But that's the narrative. That's the narrative that's coming from these YouTubers and content creators, saying that if this game doesn't bring in PvP in X amount of time or X amount of months, it's going to be a dead game. And I think it's absolutely ridiculous. I'm not biased. What I want to happen is this game to stick to its roots. I want them to be able to use the living world aspect to show that they can absolutely kill it with PvE in this game, and that there's going to be enough content and cool stuff and world events happening in this game that they are not going to have to add PvP in X amount of time.
If I said something to you like, okay, in 4 months' time, they take 20% of their staff, 20% of their resources, and divert that to PvP, and continue with 80% of their staff and resources and time and money and everything.
That sucks.
PvE content,
That sucks.
You're out on that? You're out on that?
I'm not out. I'm not out on it, but it sucks because the system that they have in place with the world for the PvE content has so much potential to take 20% of your resources away from a system that is so awesome. And would you not agree that this system is new? Like, have we seen anything?
So listen to what I'm saying here, though. Remember, going back to what I said, when you take that 20% and you're investing it in PvP, and you're casting that wider net and getting, let's say, I don't know, let's say even like 15% larger player base because you've got a PvP game that are going to be then spending money on the game, which are then going to be increasing your budget on the game, which is then going to make even more. You know what I mean? Like anything that makes the game bigger
I'm not disagreeing with that.
Going to help you in the PvE content.
I agree. I just don't want. I guess the term is muddle the mixture. Muddle the mixture. And hold on here. Zakir in the chat. Will those YouTubers want to make vids showing them to be PvP gods or something as all? That's right. You're right.
Screw those guys. We don't care.
But Zakir's absolutely right. People who are screaming for PvP, if you're a YouTuber or a big content creator, all you want is clout for sure.
Yeah, and I don't care about that. What I care about, like I said, is keeping the net cast wide, so I have more players playing the game that are going to enjoy the game, put money into the game, which keeps the budgets higher and the content coming at a faster pace, because that's going to keep me playing for a longer period of time. Even if let's say I just hate the PvP and it sucks and I don't want to play it, that's fine. Because I'm not a PvP guy. I'm arguing this for them because I want more PvE content, and I know that the more money that comes in means I get better content. Right? That's why I'm arguing for this, because the more money they can make, the more people that they can bring into the game is going to help me and help the stability of the game in the long run. And that's what
I agree with that. Yeah. And then the last point here in this person's post here is about toxicity. And I agree with this too. PvE focused online games have a far more friendly community, and players tend to help each other even more. Far fewer elitists are around, and far less toxicity in chats and forums. I agree. Adding PvP adds a certain level of eliteness and people looking for clout, which can be a detriment to communities.
I agree. I mean,
but again, that's a point.
If you played, I really wish you played Destiny 2 for just for a baseline on this, because honestly, I found with Destiny 2, the way they did it, there was like zero of that garbage.
Really?
Yeah. Joda, would you not agree?
Because I've watched Destiny streamers before that I can't stand.
Was fantastic for PvP. The PvP was almost integrated in such a way that it wasn't even PvP. Like I said, that Gambit thing was like, it's like playing, I don't know, I can't even think of something to, I don't know, tower defense on World of Warcraft or on Warcraft 3. Like it's like a version of the game that's still the game, but it's kind of PvP, but it's not really PvP. It's weird. They do it in such a way that it integrated, it worked, it helped, it was awesome, it was dope. I played PvP, and I'm not a PvP guy. Yeah. But Gambit counted as that. So I don't know. I really wish you played that because you could see what PvP. It doesn't have to be a straight up 4v4 melee in a friggin' small little arena. It doesn't have to be that.
Yeah. And you know what? Maybe after a couple of months of playing Anthem and doing a lot of the story and the lore stuff and the high content PvE, maybe my perspective on this will change. But right now, and I agree with this person in this post, all in all, I really appreciate the PvE focus of Anthem, and I also like the focus on the RPG elements, story, and the lore. And that's where I'm at right now with Anthem. With Anthem, I want to see.
I'm a PvE player, man. I love it. That's what I'm all about. I'm about the lore. I read the lore.
Me too. And that's what I hope. That's what I hope they stick with.
I'm the guy that spends 10 hours collecting books in Skyrim. All right.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I love the lore. It's great.
Yeah.
I'm just
I want to
saying,
get lost in this game from the PvE direction. I want to see what they do with the world, the Shaper Storms, the high level content, the gear, the combat system. There is so much that there's so much to this game that I think we have to get through, and we have to dig deeper on before PvP even comes into the equation. Like, PvP is, to me, a last of like it should be like bottom of the list. Like, the list is this big. Folks. PvP needs to be at the bottom because there's so much to this game, to this world, to this combat system, everything that it's not I don't think it should be a priority.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think
I hear it. I don't think it should be a priority either.
Yeah.
But
this is what we're getting back.
Them, 3 months time saying, hey, we're coming out with PvP. I don't think people should be pissed off about it. Because like I said, anything extra that you can add, that's all it comes down to. Anything extra you can add to the game
in 3 months, so that seems quick. I mean, like, what?
How do you know that's quick? How do you know that's quick?
What would be
you might have so much content that's going to come out at launch that you're going to be busy for 3 months anyway.
Yeah, I know.
So who cares?
I'm on the fence. Again. I just think that there's so much.
You can take that fence and shove that fence right up your.
All right.
Man. Like I said, I'm a PvE guy. I'm with you 100%. I want the PvE to be fantastic.
Yeah, awesome.
That's me. I don't play PvP, but anything that brings more players into the game is going to benefit the game. Is going to benefit us in the long run. Period. Done. Bring it on.
All right, let's move on to our last little bit here. We've been going actually for a little over an hour. The way this show would usually run, folks, is that it would be on Sunday from 7 until 11 p.m. The first 2 hours from 7 to 9 will be this talk show format, and then the last half would be open Q&A discussion and then some gameplay as well too. So we're going to do this a little bit different today. We're just going to do the talk show program. If you missed anything as well too, make sure you subscribe to the Savage Show on YouTube. That's where it's going to be afterwards. But let's hit up our last kind of point here, which is onward to launch. So we are, how many days? 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We are 11 days away from the launch of Anthem. Chad Robertson, head of live service, put out this post today. I believe this was today. Yes, it was. It says, greetings to our Anthem community. I'm thrilled to share that our public demo weekend exceeded our expectations. Operationally, things were super smooth, which I don't really agree on, but okay. Chad, sure, buddy. Our war rooms were tranquil this weekend, which is exactly how we liked them. Okay. Most importantly, your response was again overwhelmingly positive. We had more than 40 million hours of play in the game across our 2 demo weekends. So we're talking 40 million hours of gameplay across a demo. That's incredible. We hope you all enjoyed the small taste of what's to come with the full game. As developers, we remain humbled by your positive response that we've built. Thank you so much for your support. Then he goes into some of the things that he's seen from the community and the creativity around the Javelin customizations. We talked about this a little bit earlier in the show too, about how crazy the customization on the Javelins can get. This is just amazing stuff. He says our focus now shifts 100% to launch and beyond. Our development team is hard at work on finalizing our launch builds and beginning our countdown preparations. As I mentioned previously, the launch version of the game has a long list of updates and improvements that were not able to be in the demo builds. And of course, launch will be the first time our community has access to the full game with all content. We're also very hard at work on exciting post-launch content. You saw a small glimpse of it in the game Sunday. We'll have much more to share on that soon. So this post confirms a number of things, that we were playing an older build of the game during the VIP and open demos. That there is a long list of improvements that have been made, I think, from the information and feedback that they got from those demos, that is going to be put into the final game, and that there is likely going to be post-launch content extremely fast out of the hop with this game. I'm extremely hopeful for this game, both at launch and what's to come. Kieran, what are your thoughts on this post here from Chad talking about all this?
Well, again, I haven't really read about it, but
just from, I mean, it's just a summary of what he's saying, like that they're working on stuff for launch, that there's post-launch stuff coming. I mean, this is very, very positive for me, at least.
Positive.
Yeah.
The fact that, you know, there's going to be probably stuff within the first month or so, I'm guessing.
I bet you there'll be stuff in the first week. I bet you there'll be stuff in the first.
We wouldn't need it.
Week.
We wouldn't need it. They should actually hold off, honestly, within the first week, because I mean, we've probably got 3 weeks worth of, even for the hardcore guys, you've probably got 2 to 3 weeks worth of hardcore work to get. You know, and a hardcore, I'm saying, like those no-lifers, those neckbeards, that this is all they do.
Yeah.
I think, honestly, to get optimized builds and all the inscriptions that are the right inscriptions that you want for your build and shit like that, that's going to be a 3-week process probably for the neckbeards.
Oh.
And
absolutely.
Past that, so if they have an update within a month that adds some extra content, whether it's an extra raid or not, I don't care if it's an extra raid. Just even these Shaper Storm things, or just whatever else they want to add. Like, awesome. I'm down for whatever.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah.
The fact that they're going to be releasing updated content constantly is all that matters.
Because the game I'm going to reference, and my eyeballs are probably going to start burning, and I'm going to end up on fire here in a second, is Fortnite. Look what they did with anyways, look what they did with that Marshmallow concert, right? And how much attention that garnered, and how much hype there was for that concert. You're telling me that in 2 weeks' time, post launch of Anthem, that BioWare cannot put on Twitter, right, huge in-game events, or start leading up to something that is going to be a huge in-game event, very similar to what we saw with that Marshmallow concert, and just blow everybody's fucking minds.
Yeah.
I think it can happen, and I bet you it is going to happen.
I hope so. So I want to see the hype come true. I want to see the hype realized.
I think this game's gonna live up to the hype. I'm super excited about it. This is a game that is going to have a ton of hours. Like I was reading some stuff, like people were saying, you know, I might get 60 hours out of this game. If you only get 60 hours out of this game,
what are
you're not doing with your life. This game,
you're doing it wrong, brother.
Yeah. To get everything out of this game, even at the bare minimum,
I think an MMO. This is an MMO.
Yeah. You're gonna be 100. You're gonna be 100 plus. And minimum 100 plus.
In Warframe, I felt like I didn't play very much, and I was over 200 hours in.
Yeah.
And I did not get like even halfway through the game. Like,
absolutely,
MMOs, things that are constantly being developed. This is not a static, like, you know, a game that releases a DLC every 6 months or every year. This is not a start and finish game. This is an MMO. You do not get 60 hours out of it. If you get 60 hours out of it, you might hit max level.
Yep. And then the best thing too is that all the new content is going to be free. Yeah. Free.
Which is super why I'm not caring about the cash shop. Like Zakire's saying here, it's like putting aside 50 extra bucks for the cash shop. I'm the same way, man. I want my shit to be pretty.
Yep.
Son, I want to be dope. I want to be
I want to be dope. I want to be dope.
I want to be doing all the crazy ass dances.
Yeah.
I want to be fly.
I want to be fly.
And if that's what it's gonna take to support the game, that's what I'm gonna do.
Absolutely.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Nope.
I want this game to be strong for the long haul.
Absolutely,
So
and I think it will be. I think this
making myself pretty.
Exactly. I think this game is going to go through the usual Twitch cycle, right? You're going to have the guys. I mean, look at what's happening with Apex right now, right? All the big streamers are being paid bajillion dollars to stream Apex Legend. I mean, Shroud had 113K people, Doc's over 40,000. Same thing's going to happen with Anthem, right? We know that these companies are budgeting for big streamers to play their games. So this game is going to be top 10 directory for 2-3 weeks, and then it's going to settle down, and then you're going to see the people who are actually streaming it and dedicated to the community of the game, and I'm going to be one of them. The Tarsis Tavern is going to be a weekly show, and just highlighting everything that we do during the week. So again, if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube, that's where it's going to be afterwards as well too. And if you have any sort of questions moving forward for this program, please join the Savage Squad Discord and ask your questions in the Tarsis Tavern channel for every week. And yeah, I think that's going to do it for this show today.
Wait, before we done.
Oh, before we done? All right.
Before we done, son.
Mm-hmm.
What Javelin are you going to be playing first?
I'm maining Ranger.
You're going to main Ranger all the way through?
Secure is right. Sean gave up Colossus in the demo, not me though. Yes, because Colossus needs major tweaks and buffing, and the other one that I think they're also going to change, they're going to make changes to the Storm. And they've already said this. They've already said that they're looking into changes for the Colossus and the Storm in terms of mechanics, and I think they're actually looking at Colossus in terms of power level. I think you'll see Colossus get a buff.
I think Colossus needs a buff. Like I said, for people to play it, it needs to be enticing for some reason, and right now it is meh.
Yeah, and I also found from my.
I know you love Colossus, but man, it is pretty meh right now.
Yeah. So I'm gonna be maining Ranger. What about you?
So I goofed around with Storm after Jodat being super hardcore on Storm.
Yeah.
And it was dope, but I still like my Interceptor.
Yeah.
It reminds me so much of my favorite Warframe frame, which was the Valkyrie.
Yeah. That's the feedback is that the Interceptor is the most Warframe javelin out of them all.
So it's like, well, Valkyrie, which was my main Warframe, was like a Wolverine type, get in there melee.
Yeah.
And that, which is weird for me because I'm normally a mage / ranger type player, but I don't know, for some reason it's just very enticing. I love the Interceptor, so
yeah,
I think I'm gonna stick with that for the first, at least for the first little while. And,
awesome.
And put that as my first frame.
Good. Awesome. All right. Again, thank you everybody for joining us for episode number 2 of the Tarsis Tavern. Again, the episode will be up on the Savage Sean YouTube. So if you haven't yet, the YouTube's in my channel panels below. If you'd like to join the community afterwards, please make sure to join the Discord. Lots and lots of great discussion happening there on a daily basis. And again, this is going to be a weekly program. So we'll do one on Sunday. Maybe we'll do like a rumors and predictions show where we come in and we just theory craft or something like that. I'll figure out what we're going to do for next week and let everybody know in terms of the Tarsis Tavern. Again, thank you everybody for supporting this show. I really appreciate it.